Hey everyone, today I'm sharing with you an awesome football themed wreath. This obviously would be wonderfully suitable for the home of football lovers. Welcome back to my subscribers and to all visiting my channel today. Perhaps you or a family member or members are big football fans, and this might be a wreath very suitable and very festive for your home. If you like this tutorial, please give it a thumbs up and leave me your comments regarding this wreath. Okay, let's get busy creating this awesome football themed wreath. Let's take a look at the materials that we will need to create this wreath. I purchased a 14-inch wire wreath frame from Dollar Tree. This wreath will hold all of the ribbon bundles and the deco mesh bundles. I purchased this package of 6 different football-themed ribbons on Amazon. The ribbons are 2 inches wide, they're wired, and very good quality. And I'm going to be making ribbon bundles with all of these ribbons that I purchased on Amazon. I will put this in the description box, the store that I purchased them on Amazon. I used all of those ribbons to make ribbon bundles. I have here some white deco mesh from Hobby Lobby, 40% off every other week. And I ordered that green deco mesh on Amazon as well. I'll put that in the description box where I purchased it. At Hobby Lobby in the autumn decor department at 40% off, I purchased these wood footballs. They came with a stake, kind of like a wire stake attached, and I just unscrewed the stake. This is the stake that they came on. I just unscrewed it. I'm not really sure what they were intended to be used for. It's to stick in something. I'm not really sure. But I just wanted the football. And they're very nice footballs to place on this wreath. And I purchased these letters, the H, M, and E at Hobby Lobby. And those letters are 4 inches long. I went ahead and I painted those white with Snow White Waverly chalk paint. They come in a wood color, of course. Now I'm going to be making a little sign that's going to go right down the center of that wreath. And I'm going to use one of the footballs to represent the O in home. I have a large stack of white pipe cleaners. I prefer the pipe cleaners from Hobby Lobby as opposed to, say, for example, Dollar Tree, because they're thicker and they have more substance and they're easier to work with. We're going to be attaching those pipe cleaners as well as a little square of felt on the back of each of those footballs, like so. I'm showing you there. To attach those to the wreath frame by the pipe cleaner. And I have here just a wood piece from Dollar Tree. It's 12 inches long. And I'm going to be mounting those letters and the football on that piece of wood. And it's going to go right, as I mentioned, in the center of that wreath. I put a coat of Waverly antiquing wax on there, so it would be a nice brown color to coordinate with the wreath. And that's the way I'm going to be placing my letters and my football to place on that wreath. I'm going to be using scissors, glue sticks, and I'm going to be cutting my deco mesh for my deco mesh bundles with that rotary cutter. And I have those two little wood skewers. I'll show you what I'm going to do with those later. It's a little trick I use to place signs on wreaths that have deco mesh. I just put down a couple of pieces of masking tape and in a 10-inch wide section. I'm just going to use that as my guide to cut all of my ribbons and my deco mesh. Now I'm just going to take all of my ribbons, measure it out at 10 inches, and I'm just going to cut all of those spools of ribbon in those 10-inch sections. And we are going to create bundles with the ribbon. And I have them all cut and ready to create bundles. Now I'm also going to be creating some coiled up deco mesh bundles, and this is going to add some green and white to the wreath, but it's also going to help create a stability to the wreath, because this is very good quality deco mesh, and it's very firm and sturdy, and it helps to support all of those ribbon bundles. I cut that as well in 10-inch sections, and I used my rotary cutter. This deco mesh was a little bit more narrow. This is a 5.5 inch. I believe that green one was 6 or 6.5 inches. It was a little bit wider, but that's okay. It doesn't really matter. I cut a whole pile of pipe cleaners in half so they'll be readily available for me to use when I create my bundles. I also cut a pile of those felt squares, which I'll show you what I do with those later. Now I'm just going to roll up my deco mesh. I'm going to use coiled pieces in this bundle. And I'm going to do a green. I'm going to roll up a white, a nice loose roll, nothing very tight. Put it between my fingers, and I'm going to create 3 coils per bundle. I created 10 deco mesh bundles. The raw edges, I try to butt those up next to one another so that you don't really see the raw edges. I wrap half a pipe cleaner around there, and that's bundle number 1 of 10. Now, for the ribbon bundles, I managed to get 30 ribbon bundles, 3 ribbons per bundle out of those 6 rolls of that football-themed ribbon. So I have 10 deco mesh bundles and 30 ribbon bundles. And here we have all of my deco mesh bundles put together. Now I'm going to start creating my ribbon bundles. And I put 3 different ribbons per bundle. Now I tried to mix it up so that all the bundles weren't exactly alike. I always tried to include at least one ribbon that has green on it. So I just scrunch up my ribbons, place a pipe cleaner around there. Then later we're going to go around after all the bundles are created and dovetail all of the ends. And that's what I'm going to do here. Now this wreath is going to be very full with these ribbon bundles. And as I said, the deco mesh bundles, I just place them in between, evenly around the wreath frame, in between the ribbon bundles. And as you can see here, I'm just taking each end of my pieces of ribbon, and I'm dovetailing the ends. And look, that's going to look so awesome on that wreath. It's a very nice, very, very nice ribbon. Okay, as I mentioned, I finished the front and the sides of this wood sign with Waverly antiquing wax. Now I'm taking those skewers. I'm just going to take about a 6-inch piece and I'm going to glue it to either side. Now I do this sometimes when I do a deco mesh wreath because those skewers poke very nicely into deco mesh. And not only that, they create a very sturdy, stable place to place a sign when you place it right down the middle of a wreath and you want it to remain in place. You don't even have to hot glue it. This is how effective this method is. If you've never tried it, give it a try. You can always shorten your skewer sticks, but for now I'm just leaving it like this till I see if I need to do that. And now I'm going to place my letters on my sign that's going to go down the center of the wreath. I'm going to use Aleene's tacky glue here. This is a very good glue that holds up in any kind of weather. And I just put a generous amount of glue on there. And I place down my O or my football. And then I'm going to as well adhere my letters, space them out accordingly. And I'm going to put that same tacky glue on the back of my letters. And this makes a really awesome sign that goes right through the center of that really awesome wreath. And I leave that off to the side to dry while I apply all 30 of my ribbon bundles and my 10 deco mesh bundles. So I'm going to be using the 2 center wires on my wreath frame. I'm going to stagger my bundles, going from one wreath frame to the next, then back to the original one throughout. Now you can put all of your ribbon bundles on and then go and apply all of your deco mesh bundles, balancing that all out with the color and the deco mesh bundles, dispersing it evenly on your wreath frame. Or if you like, you can just put a deco mesh bundle, I want to say after you apply every third bundle of third ribbon bundle, then you can put on a deco mesh bundle and then put on 3 more ribbon bundles and put on a deco mesh bundle. You can do it whatever way you like. Just pay attention to whether you are creating an even texture with your deco mesh. Don't even bother at this point to try and arrange your ribbons. This is going to be a task that we were going to do later after everything is applied to the wreath frame. You can see there I put on 3 ribbon bundles and now I'm putting on a deco mesh bundle. It doesn't matter what order you place it. Just be sure that you place your deco mesh bundles evenly throughout your wreath. When I place my bundles on the wreath frame wire, I make sure to pull them very snug up against the wire. I turn the wreath over and then I keep a nice tight snug hold, and I do a couple or 2 or 3 twists. Don't worry about all those crazy pipe cleaners. They're going to be sticking out the back of your wreath. We'll take care of that later and clean it up in the end. If you want to have shorter pipe cleaners, in other words, maybe cut your pipe cleaners in thirds, you can do that as well. It just makes it a little more difficult in the twisting process in the back. I personally prefer to have 1/2 inch pipe cleaners, but you do you. It's up to you. And this process of opening up all of your ribbon bundles does take quite a bit of time because they are all packed in there solid. But the more time you spend arranging and pulling apart and separating all those ribbons in the ribbon bundles, the more beautiful your wreath will be. So have patience. Take time to really open up all of your bundles. Pull your ribbons this way and that way. Make sure that your wreath has somewhat of a round configuration once you're finished. This took me quite a bit of time. I want to say I spent 20 minutes opening up all of my bundles and arranging them around my deco mesh. This is what creates a really beautiful wreath. So have patience. It will be worth your while. All right, so now I have my footballs to place on this wreath. I attached a pipe cleaner on the back of every football and placed a piece of felt over the pipe cleaner. Now I am feeding that pipe cleaner with that football right through the deco mesh and the ribbon bundles, reaching behind. I don't want to pull it real tight down in there, but I don't want it sitting just flat on top either. So I take my time and I place it strategically around the wreath. Now you'll notice when I put on the footballs, you can see the pipe cleaner attached to the back. I just hot glued that. And you can see the little felt piece on the back of there. I arranged my footballs all over the wreath and I turned them this way and that way. Some of them I angled a bit and sat them a little bit, I don't want to say sideways, but angled on the wreath. Be creative in where you put your footballs. If you like, you could set them on there. Just get a good idea where you're going to place them before you actually start putting them on. Now you can see that I have my footballs going different directions. And the back is just a big hot mess of pipe cleaners. But we'll take care of that later. Now you see those skewers? I placed my sign on the back of there and I actually skewered those wood pieces right through the deco mesh. I just worked my sign in there in the back. Now I don't even have to glue it, but if you feel more comfortable putting a little dab of glue here and there to be sure it's stable, feel free, but I feel mine is pretty stable. And there's that sign going right down the center of that wreath, which was a perfect addition to that wreath. Now I have my footballs on, all of my bundles. Now, those ribbon pieces around the sign, I did go around and snip a little bit of those ribbon ends off and create new dovetails because I didn't want my ribbons to cover up my sign. So just a few of those pieces of ribbon that occupy that area right around the home sign, I trimmed those up so that the sign would be very visible and not obscured by the ribbons covering it up. So I took a few minutes to do that. I just cut new dovetails there. I placed a pipe cleaner on the back of the wreath on the wire wreath frame for a hanger. And now you can see that home sign very well. And here we have it. After I went around and cleaned up the entire back, snipping off all of the pipe cleaners, pushing any pipe cleaners down inside so there's nothing scratching the door. And here we have one final look at this fabulous football wreath. Don't forget to subscribe and give my video a thumbs up. Okay, until next time, you all take care.